Welcome back to Pride. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the Ozark Trail Paracord handle knife. So first, let's just take a look at the knife. You can see a little bit of serrated edge at the bottom of the blade there. Double edge all the way to the top, just single side. And it's a pretty knife, and I really like the shape of it. And the fact that it's got the paracord handle makes for a really nice grip as well. It's a light knife, it's not very heavy. You can see a couple little nicks on it. I've been playing around with it as well. Tried throwing it as well. Sticks real well, but it's not a throwing knife. I'll give you an example of that in just a second. I featured this knife in one of my past videos, was the AccuSharp 4-in-1 knife sharpener. And I wanted to do a solo video just on this knife, just for anybody who's interested in buying it. I even took some of the paracord off here at the bottom. We had about another 6 inches of length hanging down from the bottom of that handle. And the type of knife training that I do, I can't have anything hanging off the knife like that to get in the way when I'm reversing grip or throwing the knife or any type of other uses that I do. So let's get a close-up of this serrated edge and the rest of the blade. You can see the serrated edge was black coated. I wanted to sharpen it up though, so I got that off using that AccuSharp sharpener. Got that serrated edge nice and sharp. And the blade itself came pretty sharp. Wasn't too bad, but it definitely needed some sharpening to make it as sharp as it is now. And you can see the tip is kind of dull. That's just from 2 throws into some particle board. So the tip wore down pretty easily when throwing it. And I'll show you guys how it does when thrown in just a second. But not the type of knife you want to be throwing. But you always want to be able to throw any knife that you're using or handling. So definitely shows that it's not a throwing knife. Doesn't stand up to it when thrown. That tip got dull after just 2 throws. A normal throwing knife, the tip won't get dull, especially if you're sticking it every time into the wood. Won't get dull at all. Only when it hits the ground usually is when you'll do any little damage to that tip. So notice the wobble in the knife on impact. You noticed that handle was kind of wobbling back and forth. That just shows you the construction and the thickness of the steel that was used when making this type of knife. It's not meant to be thrown, so I didn't expect it to do too well when being thrown. But it sticks no problem, so you could throw this knife. I wouldn't use it as target practice as a regular throwing knife. But it's a nice knife. I like it. I'm happy I added it to the collection. And it's always good to test them out and see how well they do when throwing them. Now, just to give a quick example of the way a regular throwing knife would stick and not wobble, how sturdy a real throwing knife is compared to the Ozark trail knife. The trail knife is not meant to be thrown. It's not made as a throwing knife. So it's okay. It's not a bad thing. Just to give you an example of how sturdy you want any knife to be when you're throwing a knife. This is a tomahawk throwing knife. This is meant to be thrown. It's a lot more solid. It's got a lot more strength in it compared to just a trail knife. Doesn't have that strength when thrown. So overall, I really like this knife. I like the style of it. I like the handle. It's a good knife. It's nice and light. It's durable. I like that I can throw it, even though it's not meant to be thrown. It can be thrown. It's well balanced. It flies real well, and it sticks real well. It just doesn't hold up if you're going to use it repetitively as a throwing knife. So you don't want to be using it as target practice, like I said before. Use your regular throwing knives for target practice. If you pick one up, you are going to have to give it a little bit more of an edge. You're going to have to sharpen it up a bit. but once you do that, I'm sure you'll be happy with it. Came with a nice carrying sheath here. It's a real nice knife. I like it. Good price, nice and cheap. It's not good for wood carving. It's not good for whittling or anything like that, but it is a nice trail knife made by Ozark Trail.